Hi guys, I'm back. Um, I've I want to do two videos this week. I want to try and do two videos a week, but it might go down to like one a week. I don't know. But I'm trying to fit them in. I'm a busy girl. I'm a very busy lady. Um, but yeah, so today I've just finished my 10 books a month, and I still have like 4 days left to go. It's the 20 or 5 days left. No, oh my god, what day is it today? I think it's the 25th, and so 3 days left to go. So I'm planning on getting one more book in, and I'm such a liar. So in my last video, I was like, I'm not gonna read um the beautiful ones. Like I'm not gonna finish it. Like I can't be bothered. I ended up reading it and finishing off not last night, the night before, and I really enjoyed it. So I should have given it a better chance. So I'm just going to go in and talk about the books that I enjoyed really like reading this month and that are like my favorites. I think I'll rank them. But I actually should have committed to it because the second part of the book was actually pretty good. Like I was actually very happy with it, and I'm not a romance person. We know this. I'm more like heavy fantasy with a bit of romance in the background, and I should have just given it a better chance. It because it was like a historical piece, like a historical period, like romance, and I'm couldn't have been far more removed from that type of genre of book. But the second half was really interesting. It started off with like a love triangle, and I did not like that. And then it ended really beautifully, and it was like, okay, like it ended really well. So I'm so happy with the like the way it turned out, and the characters are like super interesting, and their romance was like really beautiful in the end. And it was a light read, it was a light book, and it was super easy to finish. Like once you I think for other people that like that genre, like getting into that book and reading it is it's a nice light romance read. So I highly recommend it actually. So yeah, again, I lie, but it's fine. So yeah, I just wanted to update you guys on that and say that actually it was worth reading. Um, I'm gonna get to this book in a minute. Because like I said, I read it in a day, and after every week since I've read it, um, the rating of the book goes up. Like the more I talk about it and discuss it with my friends, the more I'm like, actually, I would give it a 5 out of 5. Like it was actually really, really good. I originally was gonna put it at 4.5, but it's gone up 2.5 twice. So last week I was like, actually, it's like more of a 4.75. And then I talked to Leah again and I was like, actually, and today when I saw it in Waterstones, I was like, it's actually a 5. Like, genuinely, really, really enjoyed it. And I think it was so well written. Um, and it's very underrated. But I'm going to get into that more later because I want to discuss her work. And I think why I think her work is so important and the message behind it, and just to explore certain themes that were carried out through the book. Um, Another romance that I just finished yesterday, last night, literally breezed through it. Yeah. All my friends have read it. Well, I don't know if Donya's read it, but I'm thoroughly. I've got all the books. I will show you my new book case, my new shelf, because I've got a little trolley there that used to be there. But as you can tell, my setup's changed, and I've got some more music, which I might discuss as well. Um, Magnolia, oh my god, I love it. I think because it's more modern, I'm more into it, and it's like a tragic love story. It's dramatic, like me, and I think it's perfect. It's such an easy read, and you can get so easily lost in it, and it gives like summer. It gives like a summer read, and you can just binge them, and it's like you can get lost in it, and I think it's just really well written and enjoyable, and you can just immerse yourself with the characters, and they are very more like they're very morally grey characters. So I would recommend this. Like I said before, with The Beautiful Ones, I gave it a chance and it grew on me. The first 100 pages wasn't really that interested, and then after a while, I was like, no, I want to commit to reading this. Thunderheed, Thunderhead, I read like last week, sometime last week I finished it. So good. And I'm so like, I don't know, I don't want to give spoilers, but I don't know where it's, I mean, I know where it's going, but I don't know where it's going. And I really, really, really want to figure out who is writing these journals and like who, because obviously it's each scythe, each scythe has like a different journal entry and it flips between different perspectives and sometimes and they have meaning like, but what I found which was common in the other, in the first book, in Scythe, the first one, is like a pattern that they're lying. Like they say something, they say what is happening, going on in the situation, but they're actually lying. Like they're saying the opposite to appease whoever reads the journals. And I was like, that might be what's happening with Thunderhead. Thunderhead, Thunderhead. I said it unironically then. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're lying. But there was doubt. Like when I read the second book, I was like, I don't think that's true. So I was like really confused because they're having a bit of a breakdown in the second book. You're finding out small, more pieces of like this world and who's in charge and what's going on, and it broke one of its rules. And one of the rules is that they can't interfere and they can't communicate with I forgot what it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it's like an something are labeled as something when they're like kind of excommunicated, when they're not following rules and they're like, I don't even know what the word is, when they're not like part of the society and they have their own little like ways of living and stuff like that. So I found that really interesting. And so we learn a bit more about these other types of characters and more about the world and how it works, and the main character in the first book, she becomes a scythe and she chooses the word name, sorry, Anastasia. So another cool like little thing about them is that like when they become scythes and they have basically a license to kill people, they choose famous people or interesting characters. Anastasia's like, she Citra actually says the irony of me choosing Anastasia, because Anastasia's like a princess with a horrible fate or something like that, and it's like quite funny. It kind of gives me 1984. It kind of gives it gives that like it is a political book. It is a dystopian fantasy world, and I enjoy those types of books. And it's really interesting. It's like the Thunderhead is meant to be some sort of god, but it's not. I like the world, the characters. I enjoy the dystopian like yeah world that Neil's built. I'm just interested in the cloud. It's like Apple in like a, you upload things to the cloud, like the Thunderhead, like everything's like accessible in the cloud. That's what it's called. And the Thunderhead's like the all-seeing eye, and it's like a god without an actual god, and it's like really interesting. It's really weird how the society works. And obviously Mid America is mentioned because that's where it all goes down. But I'm really, really, really excited to read The Toll, which is the third book, which is obviously hinted at and mentioned, and we learn a little bit or have some sort of mention of the toll. So that's kind of exciting to see where that goes. But now we're finally on to Yellowface. Look how shiny she is. Yellowface, book of the year. Book of the year. So good. So some of the points I mentioned with my friend that we talked about is how crazy the characters are, how insane and dramatic and in just absurd the situations are. And honestly, they aren't though, because they're clearly based and they're clearly coming from a place like her own maybe experiences. And as a POC, as someone who deals with other people, especially in my culture, or with my religion, like Arabic names, people not mention like correctly saying our names or taking our stories and rewriting them, whether literally or not. The way the situations spiral, I really enjoy the characters. Like their intended purpose is for you to not like the characters and you not to enjoy the book, but not really. People underrate her ability to write, which is crazy to say because it's literally book of the year. But the reason I say that is because things like Poppy War and Babel, people are like, that was incredible and da da da. And then when she wrote came out with this, people are like, it's not that good. Because it's a different style of her writing and because it's so on the nose and we're so used to um like her other work being more complex and written strategically and has nuance, whereas this was much more direct. I really am curious to see to understand what made her want to write it. Not that she doesn't have any right to, and she probably deals with shit like this all the time because it's coming from a place of her being in the world as an author. I want to know like if it's from her own experience as an author directly, or it's probably a mix. I have a feeling it's probably a mix, or like someone that she knows has been through some of these situations specifically. And I would love to see like where she got the inspiration or what made her decide now's the right time to write like this and choose to write in a different genre. I feel like she's flexing on us and she just wants to write in every genre ever and literally eat up every single one. I feel like this book is a little bit longed out. I feel like it could have been a novella, personally. But it was, but at the same time, I disagree with myself because I'm like, I think the purpose was for it to be so like repetitive, not like in terms of like her point of different ways POC have been treated, specifically her being Chinese American and like her publishing her work and how um people yellowface and steal other people's work and get credit for it. Like it's it's meant to be crazy and dramatic and fun in a weird way, but also it is triggering and it is like in your face and overtly obvious. But there are certain things that it's like I think people even with books like this miss the point, and people are like, it wasn't as good as Babel, and I'm like, I think it was just as good, if not maybe better. Maybe not even better. I would say, honestly, personally, I would say I'd put it on the same level as Babel. It's just is written different, and it's a slightly different genre, but it's still amazing, and it is written well for its intended purpose. It's meant to hammer on certain points and be jarring. It's meant to be jarring because that's exactly how it feels for a POC to go through these things. It's jarring, and it happens so often. And I think for me, because it does that and it works well, it serves its purpose. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes like the characters are unlikable, that's the point. So the critiques that are made in Athena's work, for example, I feel like she kind of sees herself in Athena, or Athena is like her in a way. Like with Athena's work, like with the critiques that she got from Babel, I think are very similar in the way that Athena has written her work. Forgot the piece of work that she's written that June stole. Like she's had certain critiques, but Athena's been praised for being incredible and this and that. And I feel like it's a way of Rebecca expressing herself through as like through this book, being Athena. You learn actually a lot about what it's like to be an author, a successfully published author, and also maybe not being successful, because no one likes to talk so much about the struggle. And it's true, I think she mentions it in the book. No one likes to talk that much about the struggle that people go through as a author, like starting off. So that's that. Anyway, enough about my rant. I would love to show you my bookshelf. Little update. In the last video, I mentioned The Shadow of the Gods, so I bought that one. And I bought all three Brando Sando books. I have the shorter book for the short stories, the novella, I think it is, or just a book with all the short stories to fill in the gaps between them, between the three books, but in the series on my Kindle. So there's that. Don't know if I'll get the physical copy, probably will. I've got a bit of Magnolia, and then I've got Priory of the Orange Tree. I will be reading A Day of Fallen Night next month. I might even start this month. I think I'll start this month. Actually, I might put Daisy Hates off and just start with A Day of Fallen Night, because it's such a big book. I kind of want to split it up. And if I've read 10 books already this month, I can start with A Day of a Fallen Night. You know, I've hit my goal, so I can just try and get like 300 pages read by the end of the month. Something like that. I don't know. I also got me a little Born This Way Gaga album. So happy about that. I also got the Ray album, the vinyl. Love her music. So gassed about that. You don't understand. Genuinely makes me so happy. But yeah, also got, someone tell me to stop buying books. I also got the Harry Potter books. Like all of them off Vinted, so secondhand, because we don't support her, not in this house. I've delivered it, so I asked my friend to order it because I'm gonna go see her tomorrow, and I'm gonna pick up the Sword of Kaigan. I couldn't help myself. I really needed to get it. Love an indie book. So excited. I think it's gonna be one of my favorites of the year. Same with Catabasis, which I pre-ordered, of course. R.F. Kuang, of course. And I'm so excited. I think that's going to be my favorite of the year, period. Because every single year, actually, last year I read Babel, but it wasn't my favorite book. One Dark Window. I could be lying, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I will be filming a vlog and it will be uploaded on Friday, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But I have to edit this today and I'm gonna get it out today, tomorrow. Upload it tomorrow. But yeah, so excited. I'm gonna literally start reading A Fallen. Yeah, I might get some Samantha Shannon read. So I'm gonna probably start with that actually. Otherwise, I lie and it's Daisy Hates. But again, you will be updated. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you Friday, hopefully.